everyone.
Hello.
Yay. Welcome to A Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Johnson.
And I am Heather Terry.
And this is our power hour where we talk about fucked up people doing fucked up shit, usually for fucked up reasons or no reasons at all.
Our power hour of true crime.
Yes. You know what's amazing is that I had said this every single time for 100 episodes and never once thought about it. And then whenever it became a thing, now it just flies right out of my head every time I have to fucking say it. What a struggle bus.
Yeah, it's a fun journey.
It is.
It
Not
is.
so much for me because the second that we start, it literally is a pigeon being scared by a dog and it just goes away. And I'm like, ah.
The camera turns on. You're like,
What?
I like true crime.
We talk about true crime.
I say fucking this day. That's what,
That's what it feels like.
All right.
Crazy things that have happened.
We had our live show.
We did have our live show, Partners in Crime.
We did have our live show. Oh, look at another thing. We have new merch on our store.
Yes, and we have a new podcast logo.
We do.
Fuck yeah. Man.
Yeah, when you clicked play, you noticed it because it was on the last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we have merch. So if you would like to be as cool as me.
She went in on that.
I
got
did.
some face itches going on.
You did?
I did. Yeah. The logo is awesome and it's the tits. Our promo video is also the tits.
Oh my God. Yeah, go
We're doing
watch
more
that too.
social media promos and shit.
That's
so
right.
follow us. Make sure you like, rate, review, subscribe. You might have chances to win
That's right.
because we're all winners here. Not to mention Patreon, man. Get that content. We got some juicy content coming out.
Oh my God, when you guys
So
see
juicy. It's like a fucking mandarin orange.
But yes.
The juiciest.
But
Or a cosmic apple. I've lately been really obsessed with
why are
cosmic
you
apple.
so specific?
I love fruit. It's juicy.
I love fruit.
The fruit?
I love fruit.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, well, we were going to subscribe, but if they just say, I love fruit, then I think I'm okay.
No. They're going to do it.
They do it. There's
And
somebody
do it
out
anyway.
there who's got a fruit fetish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like me, apparently.
You have a fruit fetish?
Yeah, I think so. So, carrying on.
Why?
Patreon content.
Yes.
So, depending on what kind of level you're signing up for, you're getting different kind of content, different kind of fun, exciting things
That's
coming
right.
in the mail and that snail mail. So just get ready for it. Sign up. See what's happening.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Every month is different.
That's true.
And we're about to record some real exciting shit.
Oh my God.
You'll start seeing some promos for it.
Right.
Because this is going to be one that's going to be tucked right underneath the shelf. But we're going to be doing one of those taste challenges of hot fucking shit. And we're not talking about ourselves. We are talking about spicy things. Also just like ourselves. It's going to be great.
So spicy.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, and we're not only just doing it solo, we're doing it with Drew and Jess.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole fam, the whole COS fam.
Is right behind it. And we're all pretty terrified.
Here's the thing. I think that buffalo sauce is spicy.
Because you're a pussy.
And okay.
Because you're a pussy.
I have preferences and they are mild.
Yes, almost pussy-like.
Ew. God, you're the worst.
I know. I know.
So, and I don't have a gallbladder, which also affects your innards. So,
Yeah.
therefore, I am doing this for you, for all of you.
Dude, I am scared, and I've mildly been training for it, but I'm mostly scared for you.
Right.
I'm not even gonna lie. I am terrified for myself, so imagine the feelings I have for you.
Oh, I know the feelings you have for me.
Oh, they're strong and spicy. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start my story
Why?
because
Go
because
ahead.
that's what we're here for.
Okay.
I'm here
give the people what they want.
To give you exactly what you want.
Every time you put your teacup over there,
You get scared?
yeah, because you flail.
I do not. I do flail.
Yeah.
So
All
I'm going
right.
to tell you about this story. So I was looking up stories, found one. And then, so I'm going through it, getting my research on, doing that reading, doing that writing. And I'm like, let's look up the murder. And I fucking click that link. And I find out this motherfucker's a serial killer. This is
Oh.
one victim of a serial killer.
Oof.
So then I pulled up my britches, got my glasses on my face securely, and went to town on my story. Now, that's what I'm going to tell you guys today. The story of the National Park serial killer.
You have this like cowboy swag today. I don't know what it is. You're like, I just pulled up my britches and I put my glasses on and I put on my shit kickers and I went out and I fed the steer. Like, that's what
I rode that horse.
Right?
Rode that horse right to
You're
town.
giving me big dick cowboy energy.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, good for you.
Thank you. It is huge.
Like,
So, who do I have? Where did I get this info from? Wikipedia, Greenbelly, which is a list of the Appalachian Trail murders. You know what I didn't do? And I just realized this. There's national parks listed in here. And I meant to Google how to pronounce them. Guess what I did? Not that. So, you're welcome for me saying all this shit wrong today.
you know how I remember how to say Appalachian?
How?
Karen on My Favorite Murder podcast, she says it's like you throw an Appalachia. So Appalachian.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
NBC News, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and People Mags. Let's go. Let's get after it.
Let's go.
Meredith Hope Emerson was born on June 20th, 1983 in Charleston, South Carolina. She was raised in Holly Springs, North Carolina, which is a suburb of Raleigh. She later moved to Longmont, Colorado, where she lived for a time and at one point attended Newat High School. Intriguing. I know, you're already on the edge of your seat. She eventually moved to Georgia, where she attended the University of Georgia to earn her degree in French. In 2005, she graduated with honors and was given the Cecil Wilcox Award for Excellence in France. In France. In the French.
Cecil Wilcox is huge in
the France. From what I read, it's only given to one person a year, and it's like a cash award. And so basically, she was fucking amazing.
Very prestigious.
So I don't know a single person that has ever lived in Colorado and wasn't an avid hiker. If you've been to Colorado, your nips are hard for it. You got to get on those peaks. You got to hit them summits. Got to get them switchbacks. All good shit. So just like any other person who lived in Colorado, she was an avid hiker. She loved adventure. She spent a ton of time outdoors. She had a black Labrador retriever named Ella that came with her on her outdoor adventures. She is super strong. I say this because I'm making a judgment call on her photo. She looks like she could fucking do some shit. Endurance is there. She's independent, and she also trained in martial arts.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's kind of a rock star.
Like, I have a crush. It would be a lie to say I didn't have a crush.
Yeah.
So super badass. She's also kind, intelligent, and she had her wits about her. So if there's a woman who had the ability to hike alone, this is her.
Right.
On New Year's Day in 2008, the 24-year-old decides to take Ella and go on a hike near the Appalachian Trail in Union County on Blood Mountain in North Georgia. Along for her journey, she brought her doggy. I mentioned that. On her journey, she comes in contact with a 61-year-old named Gary Michael Hilton. He was born on November 26th in 1946 in Atlanta, Georgia, and he was an Army veteran who was a skilled paratrooper, and he was also a survivalist. He had a cute dog, too. What she didn't know is that he is better known as the National Forest serial killer. And I may have said National Park before, but we don't need to split hairs here.
Right.
It's National Forest.
Forests, they're in parks.
Things happen. Just 1 year earlier is when his known crimes actually started to occur. So on October 21st of 2007, so I'm just popping forward here, okay?
Okay.
A retired couple of course, once more avid hikers living in Horseshoe, North Carolina, John Davis Bryant, who's known as Jack, he's 80 years old, and his wife, Irene Woods Bryant, she's 84. They leave for a hike through the Pisgah National Forest, leaving their parked maroon Ford Escape at the Yellow Gap Road near U.S. Route 276. Being that they were retired, it took longer than you might think for family and friends to call the cops. It took 2 weeks before they were reported as missing to the Henderson County Sheriff's Office. They jumped as soon as they got the call, and they began looking for the Bryants with more than 30 volunteers, cadaver dogs, and a helicopter.
Dang.
So obviously they're retired. They're not doing touch bases as often as other people.
Yeah.
Through examining their phone records, it was learned that John had attempted to call 911 on the day of their disappearance, but the signal was lost and the call was dropped. So I had to dive into research on satellite phones. So if this is your first time listening, I'm an avid hiker. It's pretty much my fucking reason for living. And so I needed to know, like, what's going on the satellite phones. So they became a thing in the 90s and the 2000s, but they were still really expensive. So they were mostly used by professional explorers and researchers. The Garmin InReach was invented in 2011. So reference, this was 2007. And that's what we use. It was one of the first ones that made satellite phones affordable for everyday people. The phone costs now like $300. Then you activate it. It's like $60 or less whenever you're actually out. And that's for like basic SOS messaging, which you know about because you know about my InReach situation in case something ever happened for us. So now a lot more people have them. They have access to them. Unfortunately, during the time frame of this story, people didn't have them, which is just sucks. You wish they were invented a little bit sooner.
So they went exploring and hiking at 80 and 84. Badass.
Yeah.
Love that.
Me too. And I don't know if they were doing like overnight. So you can obviously just walk a trail or you can do an overnight. The stories I'm talking about, I'm going to assume the Bryants were doing overnight backpacking just based off of how long it took people to realize they were missing. It would imply that they were expected to like be gone for a series of days.
Dang.
Sadly, on November 10th of 2007, the search party located the body of a woman in the Barnett Branch Trail covered with leaves. Suspecting that it might belong to Irene, they sent it to the state medical examiner's office in Chapel Hill to perform an autopsy. 3 days later, the body was positively identified as that of Irene, who had been bludgeoned to death with a blunt instrument. As this was now considered a homicide perpetrated on federal land, the FBI launched an investigation with a reward of $10,000 to whoever could provide information leading to the killer. Simultaneously, it was revealed that a bank card belonging to the Bryants had been used to withdraw $300 from an ATM in Ducktown, Tennessee, with a surveillance camera showing an older Caucasian man wearing a yellow rain jacket whose hood was obscuring his face. By this time, John was still considered a missing person, possibly abducted by whoever had killed his wife. So he's still missing.
The names in this story, very interesting. Ducktown.
Oh, the location.
And like all of them are like horse toe or whatever. Like,
well,
yeah,
they tend to do that in national parks. It took 106 days from when they went for their hike to find John Bryant. On February 3rd, 2008, Mark Waldrop, a hunter, discovered a skull in Nantahala National Forest. There, if you want to see, Nantahala National Forest, just off the Forest Service road known as the Switchbacks. After calling the local deputy for assistance, the duo investigated the scene. I was super intrigued by this because they were like, the duo investigated the scene. So this hunter was like, I shall investigate. I'm doing it. He puts on a fedora, a trench coat, and he's in there like swimwear. They find a pelvis and spine located about 20. Did you just laugh?
No, in there like swimwear. That's what
And I'm like, they found the dead body.
I know, the timing was bad. I accidentally made eye contact with Jess. It was...
You fucked up.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll put myself in timeout.
Please.
Okay.
So they find that pelvis and spine located about 20 yards from the skull. Since there was no clothing or identification near the remains, the bones were sent to the medical examiner, again in Chapel Hill, to identify the victim. After 2 days, it was positively identified as that of John Bryant.
No.
Now we're backtracking to December 3rd, 2007.
Okay.
So just about, a month. 46-year-old named Cheryl Hodges Dunlap was a nurse and a resident of Crawfordville, Florida. She had failed to appear at her church in Tallahassee, where she taught Sunday school. Sweet angel. This behavior was out of character for her, so her family reported her missing on the following day after her abandoned white Toyota Camry was located north of the county line. Approximately 5 days later, a search party of around 180 people was organized to help locate her, and even though they found nothing, they still held out massive hope that they were going to find her alive. On December 16th, 2007, 3 days later, Ronnie Retz, another hunter passing through the woods in the Appalachian.
What?
Give me that. Tell me what you think. Apalachicola.
That's what it sounds like.
Makes me want a fucking
Apple
beverage.
And a Diet Coke.
Yes. National Forest with his dogs discovered the decapitated, decomposing remains of a white woman.
No.
I could not fucking imagine. I could not imagine, like, one thing to find a skull or bones, a decomposing body, and I will now have nightmares. He called, obviously, the state authorities as quickly as he could. Through DNA profiling, they confirmed that it was our sweet angel, Cheryl Dunlap. Her death as well was another homicide, and now they are focused on a suspicious green truck that was seen in the area around the time she had disappeared. Again, it was driven by a man who had used her ATM card 5 times in Tallahassee, withdrawing $700 from her account. Not much money here.
Right.
$700, if that showed up in an envelope at my address, I'd be excited for. But we're talking $1,000 for the lives of like 3 people.
Right.
Over the next few days, tips are pouring in, and some of them were about a strange homeless man with a dog who was driving a green 2001 Chevrolet Astro van. It didn't get an arrest, but now the rumors are percolating that a serial offender was operating between Georgia and Florida. But of course, the Leon County Sheriff's Office says that they're investigating it as an isolated homicide. I'm not sure why, unless they didn't want to like fucking freak people out that it was likely to be a serial killer, because the second you say serial, though people are thinking about some fucking Frosted Flakes, they're also worried, and it scares everyone.
Yeah. Or sometimes they don't like to share info between jurisdictions.
Yes, but I think this one, well, I don't know. I
I'd be like, this is our case, and then if we say it's a serial killer, then we have to share everything with you, and then you might crack that. I don't know. Sometimes
I don't know.
I've been watching too much Law and Order.
I know. I'm like, we're talking about a 47-year-old woman and then 2 80-year-olds. It's pretty fucking depressing.
Yeah.
All of this had taken place prior to Meredith meeting Gary on that trail that faithful day, which is so sad. As she was hiking, Gary essentially joined her on the trail. So if you're not a hiker, you tend to run into other hikers. Like, it's the great outdoors. You're not just fucking out there all the time by yourself.
And then they just come with you?
Depending on, so most trails are a 1-person trail. So if you saw me and Travis hiking, you could say I was following Travis. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm walking behind him. 2 people can't walk side by side in very many trails. It's very exciting whenever I get to actually be like side by side with someone. So in this particular case, if you're hiking at the same speed, yeah, they're going to be behind you, or you're going to go over to the side and let them pass if they're faster than you. So you do end up being with other people. But usually, like, if we're hiking and we're that close to someone else, we'll either speed up for however many yards to like get out from their fucking earshot, and people do the same. So anyway, basically people are just fucking kind of stuck walking together.
I'd be like, no, you go ahead. I'm going to tie my shoe.
Yeah. Or you do that.
Yeah.
You slow down, take a breather, rip a cig. I'm kidding. People don't really do that. Just had to do a little tea slurp.
Oh my God.
I know. But it's because it was a break in it. And I was hoping to grab a sip while you were talking. And then you stopped talking. And I was like, I need to communicate to people who are not watching that I'm taking a sip of a bevy. Anyway.
Yeah. Even their parents just heard that.
Good.
Yeah.
Maybe that we get to hashtag ASMR on that. So she's crazy fit, and he simply couldn't keep up with her, right? Like, he's a 61-year-old guy, and she's got a pace of a fucking stallion. So he trails behind, and essentially she kind of like loses him on the trail. She goes to her lookout point and then makes her way back down the trail that she had once walked up. So Gary was waiting for her with a military-style knife. He demanded her ATM card, and she immediately went on the defensive, grabbing the blade and a baton to attack him back.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm confused on this baton, but it was like a police baton. Like, that was her weapon. I hike with a gun. She hiked with a baton. Yeah.
Dang, good for her.
At least I believe, because the one thing, I'll get to it later when they get to her vehicle, that baton is in the vehicle. So I feel like he returned her shit to her vehicle. Because a lot of the times too, at a trailhead, that's where you're parking at these locations or at trailheads, where you park your vehicle and then you go on your hike and you come back to that. So anyway, she fucking attacked him. Go her. So she's strong. She never gave up on the fight. Through Gary's later testimony, because I wanted to highlight this in this part, he said, quote, she wouldn't stop. She wouldn't stop fighting and yelling at the same time. So I needed to both control her and silence her. He says as well that there's moments that he had thought he had worn her down, but she continued to fight him. Like, this woman fucking fought.
Yeah.
Like, she fought. She never gave up. He said he got her to calm down by saying he just wanted her credit card number and her PIN and took the back trails back up. So like, it wasn't the main trail. He had taken like these little like back areas so other people wouldn't see him. Mm-hmm. He ends up taking her and her dog to his green fucking Astro van, which just sounds stupid to me. An Astro van just sounds stupid.
They were all the rage back in the day.
I think I know what it is, and I think it's stupid.
It looks like it could possibly, like they have the camper vans or the camper van life or whatever.
Yeah.
But
like
family
smaller,
had
right?
one, and it was basically that. Like we'd go to softball tournaments, you could lay down in the back seat, and I would just sleep on the way there and on the way back. So the more you know.
About Astro vans.
Mm-hmm.
Meredith was with him for 3 days.
No.
She continued to give him the wrong pin for her ATM card and kept telling him, no, that was the right one. And I believe that she thought the longer she lied to him, the longer she had a chance to escape him. On January 4th, Gary tells her that she's going home. He secured her to a tree and walked back to his van to make coffee and to get himself together.
Oh, all right.
He then comes back to where she's tied to a fucking tree. And she literally said to him, which I believe were her last words, I was afraid you weren't coming back. Instead, he walks behind her and he beats her in the head with a car jack several times until she dies.
That's so sad.
So fucking sad. This fucking cunt says, quote, it was hard. You got to remember we had spent several good days together.
Oh, poor him.
And then he said he couldn't bring himself to kill her dog. Yeah. He could kill her, but he could not kill her dog.
Wonderboy Media is not only the proud producer of this glorious magic imploring your ear holes right now, but they're also a big deal.
Get in touch with them today to make all of your dreams a freaking reality.
From using their bangin' ass podcast studio,
where we are right now,
to creating amazing videos and editing our content like the mystical mavericks they are.
Your podcast can go further when you have a Wonder Boy.
Hit up Drew today at WBOYmedia.com.
Or text him day or night at 270.
Just kidding.
Get ready, outdoor enthusiasts. The Western Kentucky Outdoor Expo is coming to Owensboro Convention Center on April 12th and 13th. Explore RVs, boats, hunting gear, side-by-sides, and more, all in one place. And best of all, it's free. Don't miss this ultimate outdoor adventure. Learn more at westernkyoutdoorexpo.com or follow us on Facebook. We'll see you there. Now, when she didn't return home on January 2nd, so that was on the 4th, so 2 days prior, her friends began to search for her and notify the police. I think her friends didn't call the cops first. I think they literally went to the trailhead that they knew she was going to be at, and they tried to find her themselves. There were witnesses who saw her alive and hiking with her puppy dog on January 1st. And then there were other hikers who saw her with an older man too, who also had a dog following her, which is kind of how I said the trails worked. That's the other thing too. You tend to remember people when you're hiking because you come in contact with them, and it's not, unless you're at a national park you're at Yosemite on a Saturday at noon, usually you're coming in contact with a handful of people and you're going to remember them.
I was going to say, I didn't think it would be it's not like Black Friday in the 90s in Walmart.
Right. Right. Yosemite, I could never tell you, but on a hiking trail, yeah, I could pretty much be like, did you see this person? Yeah, I did. Where'd you see him? When I was here at that point. Yeah. On January 3rd, 2008, authorities located her 95 Chevrolet Cavalier, where they found various items like her water bottle, which she would have taken with her dog leash, and the police baton.
So he put that stuff back in there?
I think so. Because
she would have had her leash.
Right. In my assumption here, his Astro van was at the same parking spot.
Oh.
Because he went to the trailhead.
Got it.
Yeah. So they were likely in the same parking lot. That usually isn't that. I mean, it's a decent size, but like you said, it's not fucking Walmart's.
Right.
So he would have had her keys. He would have had that, and he could have thrown her stuff in the car. He probably would have looked through her car too to try to steal money. I'm making assumptions here. I'm not a private detective.
Let's do it.
I'm making assumptions. A local drifter and as of then unidentified serial killer, 61-year-old man, Gary Michael Hilton, is now announced as a person of interest in her disappearance. Thank God people in the area paid attention, because on January 4th, a witness at a Chevron gas station called the DeKalb Police Department and stated that the guy you're looking for is cleaning out his van.
Oh.
Yes.
Got him.
Fucking got him. No bullshit. A guy saw the news, is pumping gas.
And he's like, oh, there's that dude.
That's that fucking guy. And then I also read too that it was 2 people, and it was also the cashier, at the gas station.
Good for them.
So 2 fucking people were alert, paid attention, and called the cops, and they stopped a serial killer. Those two people stopped a serial
Say
killer.
something, see something. Here's my thing. Like, I would call even if I was wrong. What's the worst that can fucking do? You thought you were right.
Right.
Maybe you're wrong. But if you were right and you didn't say anything, you could literally save somebody's life just by taking a chance of making a fucking phone call to a not like the non-emergency line at
or the emergency line that they called straight 911 because the dude was cleaning the fucking crime scene in front of people.
In this instance, yeah. Right. For sure.
I've always said, and I will continue to say, see something, say something, call. Worst case scenario, you're going to feel a weird moment of embarrassment. Guess what? I trip on nothing all the time.
Yes, you do.
I feel a weird level of embarrassment a lot of the times. Most of the time when I talk to somebody, I'm going to walk away and I have embarrassed myself to some capacity. Fucking make the phone call because you could save a life.
Yeah, who gives a rip?
Exactly.
Life's more fun when you don't give a shit what people think and you just do it.
Yes. So the police fucking hustle.
Good.
Hashtag hustle.
You're a lot of hashtags.
I'm full of it all the time.
You're very, very youthful.
You're
so hip with all your hashtags.
I feel like that makes me not hip, but I like where your head's at anyway. So they go to the scene and they're able to stop him before he could bleach the interior of the van.
Good.
Crime scene analysts obtained blood evidence that was matched with Meredith's DNA, and Fuckwad was arrested and charged with Meredith's murder. Boom, boom, pow.
But
within 4 days.
I mean, it's sad, but I'm glad they caught him that quick.
Me too.
After her, anyway.
He's 61, so who knows what's been happening.
That's true.
The same day, Ella was found alive wandering in a Kroger parking lot in Cumming, which was 60 miles away.
Her dog?
Her dog. And she was safely returned to Meredith's family.
Oh, I mean, at least there's a silver lining.
That's what I said. I was like, I bet that is the smallest condolence that you could have after your daughter was brutally murdered.
Right.
You got her dog back. I mean,
that poor
nothing.
dog, too. Oof. Doesn't understand.
Oh, my God. No. The next day, more of Meredith's belongings were found in a dumpster near a Quick Trip elsewhere in the city. This included her bloodied clothing. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Her wallet, her driver's license, a University of Georgia ID card, and a blood-stained car seat belt. The car seat belt was from Gary's vehicle. So the prosecution agreed to take the death penalty off the table if they rehomed Gary's dog, Dandy. And he would. Wait. Yes.
Say it one more time.
So the prosecutors agreed to take the death penalty off of the table if Gary would lead investigators to her body, and Gary's number one request that they would rehome her dog. His dog, sorry.
His dog.
Yeah. They were like, he's like, I care about my dog. Take the death penalty off and make sure that my dog is rehomed and not put down. And they're like, okay.
It's bizarre to me that he doesn't value human life. But I mean, I love dogs too, but I don't know.
It is bizarre.
It's bizarre.
But he also was homeless, lived in the woods essentially, lived in his vehicle, and the only thing he had was his dog.
Right.
So
and his yellow rain jacket.
Fucker. Motherfucker.
Like that kid on It.
I will have to say too, though, they don't know who he is yet. They take the death penalty off the table for a serial killer. Gary agrees, and he took them to find Meredith's body. He had cut off her head as well.
Fuck? So is he doing this? Are you going to tell me why? Because if not,
identification.
I'm gonna get
They always take the head off.
I mean,
we'll get to it.
No.
So I believe she was naked too, because at some point the Hustler magazine wanted to post the photos.
No.
And because her bloody clothes were like, her family fought that they could not do any naked, like that they couldn't post the photos, A, because she was nude, and B, because she was decapitated. So for some reason, you have to, you look frustrated, but imagine every single book that shows crime scene photos.
Yeah, but Hustler,
I don't know what I didn't like dive into it.
It's a little different. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me.
They could have been just doing a story on this because there wasn't,
I just thought
I feel terrible because I've always looked at crime scene photos. It was something I've always looked at as a psychopath who is into true crime, and I'm not a psychopath, and it is not. I'm not saying that if you like true crime and you listen to us, that you're a psychopath.
Right.
But I've always looked at them because I wanted to understand. Like it's a part of the experience of understanding a true crime story.
Right.
And I couldn't imagine if that was a crime scene of my mom.
Right.
And like it's being.
My thing is, I just can't. I don't get the hustler connection. I thought they were like. I thought that they were tits and slits. Like I didn't think that they did this.
But
that's why when I was like, "Wait, who did you just say?"
Yeah, I can't tell you why because I didn't look into it. I skimmed it as I was going.
I mean, I'm glad you included it because that's fucking.
I
wild.
didn't even include it. I just mentioned it. I should have read more about it. I shouldn't have said it because I would have known that you were going to be like, what the fuck? and maybe it's bullshit. At the end of the day, it was like a side note on Wikipedia. So maybe it wasn't even anything. But it showed that her parents had like fought against it happening. And that's why I think she was naked because her clothes were thrown in that trash can. Yeah. And as we said on the other one, the torso of the other body was found. Like he did it so it was harder for them to identify people, which at the end of the day, if they were found before the bodies decomposed, they could have identified him anyway. About a month later, Florida prosecutors charged Gary Hilton with Cheryl Dunlap's murder, claiming that forensic evidence linked him to the murder. Now that his DNA and all shit's in there,
right.
Or they found something in the vehicle. Despite his efforts to fight his extradition, Hilton was brought to Leon County from the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification State Prison. That's a mouthful.
Right.
In June of 2008 and was remanded to await trial for the murder of Cheryl. Attorneys Inez Subert, it could be Suber, which makes me think of supper because I'm hungry. And Stephen Bean.
Now you're just saying.
What? Bean, Been, who specialized in capital murder cases, were hired as his public defenders. At his trial, prosecutors claimed that Gary had abducted Cheryl from the Leon Sinks geological area and held her captive for 2 days before eventually killing her and decapitating her body. He had also attempted to eliminate potential evidence by incinerating her head and hands in a fire pit.
Oh my God.
Before finally dumping her body in the forest. When they went back through all of his campsites from before, and they had found like the incinerated fire pits where he was trying to burn parts of her body.
Was this all, sorry, is this all the same for like?
No, we're in Georgia.
We're going around. I didn't know how big I don't know.
All of them are huge.
Yeah, I figured.
Fucking ginormous.
So like I didn't know.
That's why people go missing in them.
Right. Fuck. So I stay out of the forest.
Yeah. On December 15th, hunters had then found her torso in the woods, roughly 7 miles from where her head and her hands were found.
What the? He's, all right.
He's the worst.
He literally is one of the worst.
Yes. His defense team, fuck them, claimed that there was no forensic evidence that he had committed the murder, while the prosecutors countered that Gary had claimed on tape that he had disposed of Cheryl's body, but then deliberately tried to distance himself from it, basically buyer's remorse and backwards ass way. After 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found him guilty on 3 out of 4 charges with a recommendation to impose the death penalty. On February 22nd of 2011, he was officially sentenced to death for the crime and sent off to Florida's death row. In 2012, Gary was brought to trial now for the 3rd time for the murders of John and Irene Bryant. As part of another plea deal with the prosecutor, he admitted his guilt in the killings and was sentenced to an additional life term without the chance of parole. During the hearings, Gary described how he had killed Irene on the spot and then kidnapped John to extort his bank details before shooting him in the head with a .22 Magnum and then dumping his body.
So he testified, like he said it?
Yeah. He didn't say no to he didn't bring anything up.
Right.
But when he was asked, he told them.
What the? I don't get it. What the fuck?
I agree. And we'll talk a little bit more. We'll talk a little bit more.
You alone? Let's go.
Let go. So during and after his trials, criminal profiles from the FBI and agencies from across the country then started to interview him. Probably what we are all thinking here. Did he really start killing in his 60s?
No.
Very unlikely.
I don't think you just retire and you're like, you know what?
I've always wanted to try this.
Me and the dog. That poor dog.
I know. According to criminologist Eric Hickey, Gary was likely responsible for other homicides before 2007. a claim supported by other veteran profiles who were skeptical that Gary had begun killing in his 60s. In 2018, Gary unsuccessfully attempted to overturn his death sentence, citing his defense team was dysfunctional and ineffective.
On what grounds?
Him being a stupid cunt.
I know. Normally they're like, because of A, B, and C. And he's like, they didn't work.
Right?
They didn't work. You're ineffective.
I'm like, dude, fuck you. Fuck you. Both state and federal authorities were like, nah, bruh. Nah.
No mo.
No mo. Now, our baby daddy, Paul Holes. Daddy. Sexy man.
Oh, my God.
Baby daddy. He said, quote, he is very accomplished at living in the outdoors and knows the terrain, knows where there would be a victim pool and which areas in these forests would be best for him to get away with committing these crimes. He obviously hunted where he felt most comfortable, and he knew the area. I said that. Sorry, that was not a quote by Baby Diddy.
Yeah, that was.
I said, Brooklyn Johnson says, he obviously hunted where he felt most comfortable and knew the area well. Paul says in the People article, he goes, okay, quote, start. He goes, I would go out on the hunt. Holes says of Hilton, quote, there's twofold motivation for him. In part, he's having that urge to go out there and get control over a woman. And he also runs into financial situations where he was down to $40 and 2 days of food. And he's going, I had to, just to be able to get financial assets to keep living. I had to go and find a victim. So that is where we're getting the reasoning behind it.
Okay.
Yeah. The reasoning behind it, the brutality, the sheer bullshit of it all makes you fucking get outraged.
Right.
What he always says is that, or what I always say, me and Travis always fucking say this, is that like hikers are the happiest fucking people. Like I fucking swear to you, it's true. When you're on the trail and every single person looks lighter, happier, vibrant. We're always walking by people and we're doing the, hey, great views up there. All that stupid shit because you're just happy. You're happy to be outside. Endorphins, nature, adaptogens, good vibes. All of it's happening in the fucking woods. And then you go out there and you fucking do the shit that you do over fucking money. And not even like stealing cash from people because that's not even a real fucking thing.
Right.
At this point, ATMs only allow you to take out 200, 250, whatever,
right.
300 or whatever the fuck. Yeah. There's parameters on the cards. So in 2008, when he was trying to fucking do all this shit, you weren't even getting much out of him. And it's not like you were robbing for $6,000.
Yeah.
Like you were going in there for nothing. Enough food to make it for a week.
Yeah, that's why Hot for Hull said that it was like that dual reasoning, which is good because he's like, well, he wanted control of a woman, but then he's like, well, he justified it by taking their fucking $300 or whatever. If someone's coming at you like that, like take my fucking money, take whatever you want.
That's the other thing is it's like, dude, come up to me, wear a ski mask and say, give me your credit cards. Here, what is the pin? Here's a backup pin in case that's wrong. Go fucking ape shit.
That's all.
And then run off.
I'm going to do that to you.
Dude, you'd get barely anything at this stage of my life. But like, you can go for it. Go for it.
I'll shoot my shot.
Just don't take my Amex. But like, that's the shit is it's like,
right.
It was nothing. The reason that Meredith was targeted that day was purely because she was a woman. And he says it.
God, he's like, ugh.
And you know what the other dumb thing that I have to say about me on this is?
Yeah. What?
I have always said to myself, and this sounds so stupid, and I hate that I'm saying it on a microphone, that people will hear. But I've always tried to at least like look strong. I'm a fucking shorter girl, but I've always been relatively strong, except for like there's a solid like 4 to 6 years throughout my 37 years where I really ate. But like I have been relatively a strong looking female. Mm-hmm. And I used to be so fucking dumb that I would think that somebody wouldn't come after me because I looked like I could put up a good fight.
Oh.
Meredith looked like she could put up a good fucking fight.
Do you have photos
and she was
of her?
Still picked. Yeah, it'll be on the episode.
I want to see.
Nope. Later, because I'm in the very end.
Okay.
But that's the dumb shit. And I've even said to myself, why always go with a gun? What the fuck is that going to do? If somebody comes at you with a knife and like there's so many, what fucked me up is like, I love national parks. I love national forests. And we're just now starting this backpacking journey. I pulled up a list of all the Appalachian trail murders. Mm-hmm. And almost all of them happened in the backpacking portion of it, they have these like rest stops, like these little shelters that you can sleep in, so that if it ends up raining and you're doing backpacking, you have like a safe space. And there are so many of them where people were just sleeping there and people came up and killed them.
You're not going.
And I told I literally went into the office while Travis was working yesterday or whatever, Monday. And I was like, we are never staying in a shelter. And he looks at me and he's like, cool. And I'm like, don't you want to know why? And he's like, no, we don't have to stay in a shelter. I'm like, motherfucker, do you know how many people get shot
That's wild.
in the shelters? People with hatchets go and fucking attack them out of nowhere.
Man.
Like, I think that we're on top of it. And I wasn't even that worried until we went to California. My dad was like, everyone's going to try to kill you. And I was like, Dad, chill. And he's like, no, I'm fucking serious. And I was like, he goes, where do you keep your gun? I was like, in my bag. He's like, cool. If I came up to you with a knife right now, how long would it take you to get your backpack, unhook it from you, then dig into it underneath all your shit and find your gun?
Right.
He's like, if you don't have your gun readily available, then you're already 5 steps behind whoever's trying to attack you.
Now you just hike like this.
And I'm like, but we have Travis. And he goes, guess what? The first person they're going to kill in the moment that they see you too, they're going to kill Travis. You might not even see Travis get killed. I was like, motherfuck, Dad.
Man.
And he's like, you should know better. You have a true crime podcast, don't you? Don't you think about these things? And this is my problem with my psychological profile, because both my parents were military, and this is why I'm crazy. I swear, I read this shit, and then I have a type A personality, and then I'm like, I need to go to boot camp. But anyway, all of that to say, like, even if you are a well, adept, trained, martial arts, strong female with a baton, someone can still take you if they want you to. And it's sad.
Just be careful. And it is sad. Well,
because it doesn't even matter. She was so careful.
Right.
She didn't even hike alone. She had a dog.
Right.
It's just shit.
It is shit.
I know I just fucking derailed so hard, but it's just the shit that just fucking gets underneath your skin.
Yeah, and you're not even highlighting all the parts of the national parks that are good, that you love, that aren't bad. These are just like, we're going to pick out the few bad ones. It's not like everybody, like, they're not like 8 murders a day.
Right.
Like in the shelters.
Right.
But in your brain, the way your brain's wired, which I totally understand, if there's one, there's 1,000. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's the shit that got me, is I was scrolling through them and I was like, oh, 16 in this place where I have hiked.
Right.
And then you go into other ones where like people just shot couples when they were sleeping in their tents.
Right.
It fucks with you. Mm-hmm. It fucks with you.
Oh, I get it.
The Woods Are Watching. That is a book that I read. The Woods Are Watching.
I thought you were just saying some quote, and I was like, what do you
guys,
mean?
The Woods Are Watching.
You said that. You looked right at the camera. You're like, the woods are watching.
It's a great book.
And
I don't remember who wrote it.
Why are the trees looking at me?
But it's another one like that. Girls going on a hike and crazy shit happens.
Oh, you told me about that.
Yes.
Like all about it. Every chapter.
Because it was fucking bananas.
Were they best friends?
They were, but they weren't. They were, but they were kind of like, their friendship was on the rocks when they were on the hike. They also had no idea what they were doing, and it blows me away. I know so much about fucking being in the woods, and I'm still terrified to fucking go on a backpacking trip on my own, so I'm just going to say that little thing.
Well, after this fucking story, you're not going.
I am.
But
it's still like, damn, if it's your time, it's your fucking time, I guess. I don't know. It just fucking sucks. Anyway, okay. So we mentioned all this shit to then dive into this too. I grabbed this from Wikipedia, okay? I did see on the People magazine article with our baby daddy that he focused on one particular victim that they specifically believe is from Gary. The other ones, I'm intrigued as to whether or not they actually are, but for the sake of the story, I'm going to tell you it anyway. So on September 7th of 1997, several human bones and personal items were found in the Pisgah National Forest scattered near a campground. The descendant was eventually identified as a 51-year-old hiker, Judy Smith, who was last seen in Philadelphia 5 months earlier on April 10th, 97. It has been speculated that she may have been a victim of Hilton, who had left one of his victims in a similar condition near where her body was found. But she was like last seen in Philadelphia. I feel like that was just coincidence. Who am I? Who the fuck am I?
Oh.
But who am I on any of this shit, right? Who knows?
Mike Jones.
This is one that I don't particularly think is one of his victims. Once more, this is just my fucking stupid opinion. 20-year-old Jason Andrew Knapp, a Clemson University student, was last seen by his roommate at their residence in University Terrace Apartments in South Carolina on April 11th of 98. His roommate said that Knapp was watching a movie at approximately 10:30 p.m. that evening. His white 1990 Chevrolet Barada was abandoned 9 days later on April 21st in 1998. The vehicle was parked at Table Rock State Park in Pickens County, South Carolina. He was declared legally dead in 2018. Due to similarities in it, they proposed that he might be a suspect in this, but he denied it. Like, this is one that Gary did deny. Also very shocking. He was just like, I don't think he went and stole people from houses. He got them in the opportunity of them already being out there. Hairdresser Patrice Marie Tamber Andres, 38, disappeared from her hair salon, Tamber's Trim and Tan, in Cumming, Georgia on April 15th of 2004 between 11:37 and 11:50 a.m. Her remains were found on December 6, 2005 in Dawson County, Georgia. Hilton was known to have been in Forsyth County because he had been stopped for a traffic violation there. In his statements to investigators, he told them that he would usually go to hair salons to ask for money, usually around lunchtime. They were unable to find an alibi for him the day of her disappearance.
They never admitted it?
Nope. 26-year-old Rosanna Milani. She was a hiker from Miami, Florida, and was last seen on December 7th, 2005 at approximately noon at the Ramada Inn Hotel in Cherokee, North Carolina. This is the one that Paul Holes was talking about and was mentioned. Milani called her father from the hotel that day and told him she was going hiking on the Appalachian Trail. A store clerk who read about Milani's disappearance claimed she had sold a backpack to her, and an unidentified white man in his 60s in Bryson City, North Carolina on December 13th, 2005 was like near her at the time. Following Gary's arrest, the store clerk had contacted authorities to note the similarities between him and the suspect. So she was like,
right.
I think this was a guy. This was highlighted, but I don't know. He never confirmed, and I couldn't see if he denied it either.
I hate that for all the families of those people. Like, they, like, what a shithead. Just say you did it or say you didn't so they can move on. Agreed. Like, give them closure, you fucking piece of shit.
Especially, I'm curious if they were asked, like, what did they go? They had to have. They had to have interviewed him about Rosanna. Like, they had to. So I just don't understand either. Like, I mean, you're a fucking piece of shit. Yeah. Act like it's a dog. Right. Act like Rosanna is a dog and be like, I feel for dogs. Right. Like, just fucking care. Show some care, man. Yeah. Stupid fucks. Also for money. Things piss me off. Yeah. They do.
Just like I tell you every time, I'm always like,
I get so mad.
I know.
I get so razzle-dazzled.
Yeah. And then I'm over here like, I didn't do it. And you're like, I know.
And I'm like, fuck, I can still get mad. I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to flip tables. So I'm here for it.
Can and you shall.
Michael Scott Lewis, 27, a South Daytona resident, went missing on November 21st of 2007. A few weeks later, on December 6th, his dismembered remains were found by a fisherman in Ormond Beach, packed in black bags, which had been dumped in the Tomoka River. The remains were not immediately connected to Lewis, with identification occurring several days later. His head was never located. They stated that while Hilton remains a suspect in the murder, he is not the only one. According to All That's Interesting, just like most serial killers, Gary's childhood was shit and full of bad times. He did have a schizophrenic episode in 1967, and that's what got him discharged from the Army.
Oh.
Throughout his life, he got married and divorced 3 times. According to Yahoo Finance, Gary Hilton is on death row in a Florida prison named Union Correctional Institute. He is currently 78 years old.
So they haven't done it yet. They haven't killed him. Right.
I was like, they haven't done it?
They haven't executed him.
No, they like to have him sit on there for a long time.
Man.
Hilton's golden retriever, Dandy, was rehomed following the conviction of Emerson's murder, as they had promised. And this is the sad story of hiking gone wrong when the National Forest serial killer was active in 2007 and 2008.
Jesus.
Stupid fucking Gary.
Right. Could you imagine getting adopting a dog and finding out that piece of shit used to own it?
That would be wild.
I know. I just thought of that. Like, if you're like, oh my gosh, look at this dog Dandy. And they're like, oh, great.
I doubt they would know. Like,
well, because usually at the shelters that we talk to, though, they're like, oh, this is the story. The owner did blah, blah, blah. They're not public with it. But like, I don't know.
Like, my dog was found in a car. Like,
right.
Theodore Roosevelt, the sweet angel who sings.
He's at the end
of every episode. Theo was found in a car. Just a car.
Man.
Like, they assumed it was a homeless guy. I don't know who the guy was. Oh, and it was him and another dog, and they were found in a vehicle. And they think that he probably got arrested. He never came back to the vehicle. Oh. And then I guess someone called animal control on 2 dogs just stuck in a vehicle.
And now you have Theo, which means I get Theo too.
Who loves to be in cars. Whenever he used to like run out when he was like young and a psychopath, and I need to stop using the word psychopath, but he would just zoom me all over the fucking neighborhood and just
he would jump in your coworker's car.
Oh my God, he'd run out of the front door all the time and jump in everyone's car.
I know. I'm gonna
all
do that
the time.
I'm gonna come by and just open my door and then leave.
And he will just run and jump in it.
Oh,
he loves
that.
He loves to be in cars.
Yes, me too.
Oh, that makes me think of him when he was young. Like now that he's getting older and he's like seeing dogs age fucking sucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse. I've never had, like, I've had Theo now for 7 years. He's 9 or 10 years old. And it sucks. I miss when he was like crazy and just run all over the place because they get tired and they're not nearly as wild.
You know what? Me too.
Same.
I get tired and I'm not nearly as wild.
Yeah. I will have to say this story fucked me up. I keep doing ones because a lot of murders happen in like while people are hiking because you're so secluded, and it has fucked my mental state up.
I'm gonna I have your location, but I'm gonna need more than that. I'm gonna buy you a life alert. Do they make best friend life alerts?
That wouldn't matter. I have to be able to press the button, sister.
You can press the button. You wear it as a necklace.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not doing that.
Fine.
I love you.
I'm just going to have sleepless nights while you're out in the wilderness roaming around.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you did. I'm going to now. After that shit, I was like, I'm going to be laying there just fucking listening, hoping and praying.
And wishing and hoping.
All of that. Well, y'all, do not forget. Please rate, review, subscribe, share.
Yeah.
Tell people about us.
Do all the things.
Yeah.
Dana, who did you see Dana Samples, who did our D-Rex?
Yes.
Who did our logo? Did you see that they gave us a review?
No, I did not. Heather's so great at asking me if I've seen things that I have not seen while we're on the podcast.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm like, no, I only look if you tell me to look.
Oh, yeah, I did not tell you
to literally have to tell me, hey, can you get on social media and look? And I'm like, I will do that because I forget and I suck. I saw that Jess had sent me stuff on TikTok that I still don't even know how to use. I was like, oh shit, I need to tell Jess that I don't have any notifications and so I don't know when stuff comes. And I was like, oh fuck, I gotta watch shit.
I know.
I just thinks I'm ignoring her.
We talked about it last week.
She
said, I was like, look, it's fine. She tells me she just acts like she likes you, so you'll keep doing the show.
Yeah. And I just cannot remember to fucking click on these things.
I text you and I say, open your Snapchat.
Yes. Because it's been 4 weeks since I did.
And then she has to respond and she's like, ha ha ha. And then in parentheses, it's like, food. Because I don't remember.
That looked really good. Sea bass.
When am I just whipping up sea bass?
Number one, you send me snaps of restaurants, Heather.
Yeah.
I am not at all saying that looks good to your at-home sea bass.
Right.
Golly. Yep, I suck. I suck at the social media.
That's all right.
You'll see it and know it.
Well, anyway, yeah. Do it. Be like Dana. Give us a review.
Yes. Preferably 5.
Yeah. If you have 4, message us first and then we can talk.
If you have 4.
No.
I kind of get it.
No. You got to get them a 5 or bus. You're always like, it's fine. A B's fine. Is a B fine? Is a B fine?
I mean, whenever it comes down to like me directly, like, yeah, I totally get it. You can be like 4 stars because of Brooklyn.
Oh my God.
We love you guys so much.
We love you.
Don't forget. Don't get mad.
Get sassy.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
This episode was sponsored, edited, and produced by Wonderboy Media. Get the deets at WBOYmedia.com to see how you can make your podcast dreams a reality.
Help us out and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to our audio project. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at, of course, A Couple of Sassholes.
Want more sass? Become a member of our Patreon for bonus content, merch, and more. Plus, we're on Cameo now, so there's even more ways to get the sass you need just how you like it. As always, don't get mad.
Get sassy.
Theodore, can I bet that dog?